Like many mornings, as always, Pinkie Pie was getting ready for school. But today, she didn't know that something special was going to happen. When she arrived to school, when she greeted her friends, Pinkie, Rarity, Applejack, and the others at the entrance, they told her that they weren't to have any classes right at the morning. And Pinkie Pie then asked why suddenly they don't have any classes, since they were announced by Luna, Vice Principal Luna, that they want to have a new student to start at school. And of course, Pinkie Pie was so excited to meet this new student. But some of the students at school were curious though. Who was this new student? There were some rumors that was supposed to be a boy, and the truth, and that this the only that they knew there were a boy, but they had no idea since Vice Principal Luna or Principal Celestia hasn't told anything. Even the teachers were almost unaware of much about the student going to start. They only knew there was a boy around the same age as the other students are, but that he and his family had moved to Cantlot City. So the students started speculating who could this student be, and why is it suddenly start in their school and not in a Crystal Prep school. But as the old students were, they were curious, talking about rumors perhaps. But Pinkie and her friends, they didn't pay much attention to the rumors. So they all went to the gym classroom and gym hall, which they all wait to see both Celestia and Vice Principal Luna standing there, and then start talking about this new student. And then Vice Principal Luna introduced them to Cinnamon Roll's son. He and his family had just moved to town. After that, his father had just got a new opportunity to work in a bigger city. So, and then he introduced himself and just told something about himself that he has a big family. He has two brothers and four sisters, and he was the youngest one. No, he was the most middle youngest, since he was the probably more quiet type. He didn't say much after that, and he was going to have same first class in science with Pinkie and Twilight. So the teacher put Pinkie with Cimarol's son as lab partners. First, Pinkie tried to talk to him about asking some questions, just small random questions, more about how it's like, how would you like to be in this town, and but some more random questions, mostly harmless. And he tried to answer as best as he could, since he was still shy. But when they were started into the class, it seems that he was quite skilled in chemistry and mostly science, which surprised even most other students when most of the students asked teacher for some help, like how to perform this test. But he never asked the teacher for any help, or he even showed Pinkie Pie how to do it. He always told once, or at least already knew what to do, and even the teacher itself was quite impressed. And even Twilight was very impressed that he already knows much skills about it. So after the class was over, Twilight walked up to Cinnamon's son and asked him how he knew so much about chemistry or religious science. And he told her that he used to study a lot of science in his old school, and that he even sometimes studied science on his spare time, which was a big passion in science and mathematics and even reading. So that actually became something both Twilight and Cinnamon's son bonding as friends in some common interest. Soon, they were even shown that he was actually even a good athlete, but That was something that he then combined with some bonding time with Rainbow and even Applejack, since both were good athletes. But he wasn't much as for other subjects. There were some subjects in school that he had some problem with, and one of them was actually home cooking. He wasn't much good at in baking or cooking some food. But when the teacher told him that Pinkie Pie could be his partner, so and once again they were partners in the same another subject, and he didn't mind that because he thought that she was very outspoken, very charismatic person. He was always being smiling, happy, always want to help others. And even during lunchtime when he'd sat mostly alone. But when Pinkie Pie just walked up and asked if he could sit there, and he just nodded, and at first they didn't speak much because he was just eating his own food without trying to start any conversation. But when Pinkie Pie then asked just what he think about the classes so far, and that he told him that he was very skilled in maths, science, and even though that he wasn't very good at baking, where she said she didn't taught him or bullying him like that, she just said at the first beginning they're always bad. Even I was bad in the first, but even you get better. And he did actually take that as a good compliment. So after school was over, he took his own train, his car home, and even after some time, when only about a few weeks had passed from school, Cinnamon's son had actually started getting a lot of friends among Pinkie Pie, Rarity, and others. But it happened that sometimes when he didn't during a recess, but he spent just a lot of time by himself, and most of his friends were just wondered why he's always by himself, not really with them. But Twilight and Pinkie Pie had always said maybe he preferred to be alone. He's always skilled in most of the subjects in school, but always by himself. Never interact with any other sports or any clubs or something. And since after that, even though the Pinkie Pie tried to maybe introduce him to one of those clubs in school, like science club, which he actually did join, and he had a great time. Everything was going well between all his friends. But there was something that he did miss. Even he had a lot of great friends, even a new best friend. But there were some girls in the school started to wonder, how can that handsome boy never had anyone to be dating? Because most of the girls who seen in town always was walking around, reading a book, or just spend time with his family, or just by himself. But it did actually happen that he was invited by Flash Sentry to see his performance for his band, which he actually enjoyed. And when one of the band members turns out that he couldn't come because he was sick, so Flash just asked if he was good playing at drums. And Stillman said that he said that he used to play the drums when he was about 5 to 10, so about 5 years, but he hasn't played that since. And he asked if he could give it a try. So he started playing some drums, and when they saw that he was quite average good, so he started playing a song, and then he started playing the drums even more. They always just looking at him, turn around, and just stunning see how professional he were. They asked him if he considered to join a band with them, as like a backup drummer. At first, he thought maybe about it, but they had to first to of course ask their main drummer if he was okay with it, because if they didn't told him about it, he probably would have left the band in the first place. But they actually asked him, and consider from that, since they sometimes do have performance, and if he was sick or had to be going away somewhere or he wasn't available, and that they had to cancel the performance, so they thought maybe a backup drummer could have been good use. So He started to join in sometimes, mostly from practice or some performance. When he did perform with the band, the entire audience was just quietly, but most of all, stunned to see how good he was a drummer. That actually did draw attention to some girls in school, and some of them had actually asked him out on a date, or asked him if they want to be their boyfriend or something. But he always said no, that he wasn't interested in a relationship right now. He preferred to study more in school and sort of things. But even his parents had often had asked when he came home how school had been, and he said, "Yeah, the school is doing great. Joined a band and like a great friends, and a best friend." Both his parents actually were quite proud of him, how much progress he had done since they moved from their hometown to Newtown. But there was just one topic that his mother had often asked. "So, have you found any special girl yet?" Well, he just shook his head and said, "No, I'm not much attention to that. I don't want to pay much attention to that." Both his parents just stared at him. "Wait, I thought you actually had a girlfriend already." "Wait, what?" he asked. "Why do you say that?" "Well, this girl, Pinkie Pie, I think she called earlier, said that you were supposed to be at her home today, helping her with her homework." And that was the first time he actually forgot about something that. And he smacked his face with his hand and said, "Oh no, I totally forgot about that. Asked me if I can help him with some doing it before some practice with performance, and I must have forgot about time." So right after dinner, he called up Pinkie Pie, and Pinkie Pie wasn't even upset. She was just crying a little bit. But he explained to her that he was helping Flash Sentry with some of the next upcoming performance. Then he had during the play practice, he had totally forgot about that he was supposed to help her, and she understood, and even that he broke the promise, but he promised that he would be there tomorrow to help her. So they tried to make again a second time, and then he did. Even though there were a lot of girls at school like he wants to be with, but he always said no. But this time, he actually had been told by his parents to at least try to find some girl to be with, and at least try to date. And even his older siblings had always told him, "You should try dating. Who knows, maybe you'll find a girlfriend or something soon." So he decided to maybe give it a try. So he started dating a girl from school, and it was actually Derby of all. And at first, everything was just going well between them. He actually enjoyed her company. It was a great time. They had a lot of things in common. But then something happened. They didn't have a fight. It was just Derby said that she had fallen in love with someone else. And of course, Simon's son didn't take that as a bad way. I mean, he understood. So they broke up, and but sometimes later on, he actually started dating Roseluck, and everything was just going right well there. And but suddenly they broke up because they didn't have much things in common, and then he didn't see her much often since she helped her family with the flower shop, and then he has to practice his own, so didn't see much of her. So he was single for the rest of the year. But then there was just another girl that actually went to another school in town. Not Crystal Prep Academy or Academy Prep. It was some other smaller school where like a college psych. They start dating, and ever since that Cinnamon Sun's family were quite wealthy, she actually found out about that. and she started dating him. And every time they were someplace, the others had want to have something to eat. They went to the most fanciest restaurants in town, which also quite expensive, and or that he wanted new gifts, maybe a diamond necklace or earrings, or etc. Of course, at first he thought maybe that she deserved some gifts from time to time. But when his parents started to notice something was a little bit off, that he spent a lot of money on her, and then they asked him what he buys for her mostly, and he said mostly some jewelry, and they asked for something smaller price, but he said no, mostly about gold necklace, diamond earrings with diamond earrings. Son, you know that those are quite expensive. And you don't have to buy things to her so that much expensive. Yes, I know that. I told her. But she didn't listen. She said, if you love me, you will buy me something very nice. And not one of those cheap ones. That is not my style. And even his mother realized that something was very, very wrong. But he didn't want to listen. And everything started changing when Pinkie Pie, and since he and Pinkie Pie were still good friends by the time. But then something didn't happen during the time. When he was starting his new girlfriend, Pinkie Pie had realized something. Every time they spent together, like helping the homework, just were in school, she had some feelings for him. But she knew that he had already someone. But then, after one day when he was supposed to meet his new girlfriend, but she didn't show up, so he knew where she's supposed to be at. So he walked up to the place where she was standing, and she was talking in a phone or with some of her friends from school, saying, yeah, I'm supposed to meet him soon, but I can't get on talk anymore. Yeah, of course I'm just using him for the money. I mean, he's very rich. He gives me a lot of things. I just ask him to do that, and he buys it for me without asking it. Yeah, and I like to be his gold digger. Yeah, he doesn't even run. He's stupid that he didn't even realize it. But that was something that he ever didn't. Normally, he would probably just confront her right away, but he didn't. So he actually snuck away, went to the place where they're supposed to meet her, and when she walks up there, she pretends that nothing has happened. And he actually drove her to this new store, and there was a jewelry store. And she looked around, and found this beautiful necklace, with gold, silver, and diamonds, but the cost of $1,300. But he found another gold necklace which only cost about $800. Just gold heart, the gold necklace with a heart, almost gold. He said, this will be more perfect for you. No, I want this one. And he said the price, $1,300. You know that is a lot more than I have. And I don't even have much money on me. I only have enough for at least for this one. Are you kidding me? I don't want to have that stupid necklace. Oh? Why not? Isn't I thought it was beautiful for your design, your personality. No, I want this one. Well, I cannot afford that. And I don't think I can buy that because I'm not your gold digger. And that when he brought it out. I know now. You only use me for my money. So for that, I don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to see you ever again. And you to try to talk to me, I will just stay away from you. And however that, I will demand all your gifts that I get you, since they were something I bought, and I still had the receipts on that. So you had to give me back them. But she first refused. But Cinnamon's son had talked to his father, and he hired a lawyer, and she had not much to do, so she gave them back, and he sold them back to the stores and got the money back. But that was not the last time he did see her, because sometimes after all this event happened, he confronted this to Pinkie Pie, since they were good friends, since they were the most closest friends of all. And she was just stunned. She was very stunned that this girl did this only for his money. And Pinkie Pie just said, if I want your girlfriend, I would never do that for money. I want to do it for your kindness. And you don't have to buy me some expensive things to prove that. Anything that, any small, even handmade, homemade gifts always would have me happy. And Cinnamon Sun, he had realized he had been such a big fool. He shouldn't be with that particular girl. He should be with someone like Pinkie, who would appreciate any sort of gifts, and even if it was a small random gifts, even homemade, like she said. But then he asked her if she wanted to go out with him, and she smiled and said yes. So he asked her where she liked to go on a date, to the movies or maybe to something else. But she said, "I want a picnic at the park." That was something that he did actually would like to do. So when he actually came home, as his parents then had asked, suddenly he said so before he left the house. He was so sad looking, but when he came back home, he was just smiling and just humming it to himself, and his parents was surprised to see that something had changed. So they asked him. So he explained. So you have a date again, and who this time? It's my friend Pinkie Pie. Wait, isn't that the pink-haired girl from your school? His mom asked, and he nodded. Well, she sounds like a sweet girl. Hope it works. And his mother was right. Everything was just going quite well between them. And in fact, after only their second date, Cinnamon Sun had actually asked Pinkie Pie if she wanted to be his girlfriend. And which she said yes. And of course, when she told her friends, they were so excited. Because this was her very first boyfriend. But even they were just recently start dating, they took the things slowly. They didn't want to rush into things so right away. But since after they've been together for almost 2 months, things was going well between them. They had picnics, went to movies, or just sit down by the lake, just having a good time. But then something did actually start happening. Because one morning, when Cinnamon Sun was supposed to see Pinkie Pie at school, he found that his car had its tires slashed and had the word cheater carved into one of the car doors. That was something that he wondered who did that and why. Even his parents were just most of all shocked. But since they didn't have some sort of surveillance cameras that could even record who did this. So, of course, he was driven by his mom to school, and even there, he explained what happened. Most of his friends was just really surprised. Why would someone even do that? But Pinkie had some suspicions about who it could have been, but she couldn't even prove it. But she did tell Cinnamon Sun about this, who she could believe it could be. So maybe she has some suspicions, but she didn't say anything until something else could be proven. Because the same very day, Cinnamon Sun's father had put up some surveillance cameras around the house. So if anyone tried to break in the house or do any damage around the house or the property, they would be captured. So, but the first 2 nights, or the 2 first days after it happened, nothing happened. But on the third night, something did happen. Something was actually recorded on one of the cameras near the front of the door. They saw this dark figure walk up to Simonson's car and carved again, sheer and just run away. But since the person was so dark clouded, it was not unable to figure out who they were. But after the second time it happened, Pinkie still had her suspicions who it could have been. So she told Cinnamon's son who she believed it could have been. She said that they might be his crazy gold-digger girlfriend. And she actually had something to believe in that. But when she actually Pinkie Pie had an idea. How about they wait outside the house in hiding, wait to see when this person to be arrived. Because on the civilian's camera recording showed that person showed up around 2 a.m. in the morning. So they waited outside. And his parents was inside, waited as well, in the dark, so pretend that everyone was asleep. And this seems to be almost no one will show up. But then the figure did show up. So Buzz were about to start doing some of the car when the lights turned on, and 2 police cars showed up in the area around just the driveway, and they all surrounded her, and it was actually his crazy ex-girlfriend. She still believed that they were still dating even after he said that he didn't want to see her. And that was when she found out that he had stopped dating Pinkie Pie. And it also later turns out that she was going to even target Pinkie Pie with something similar, or perhaps even worse. She believed that Cinnamon's son was her boyfriend, not Pinkie Pie's, and that no one would be able to take him from her. And later found out she was having a mental breakdown and was sent to the hospital for some mental release. She put him in a mental institute for some while, and even though the time when Pinkie Pie had her suspicions was right, and even Cinnamon's son didn't want to believe it first, but after seeing her being caught, he realized how crazy she could have been, and he was right, and I was sorry to Pinkie Pie that he didn't believe her first, though. Even if he said that he did believe her, but even that he actually had some suspicions about the same. Even after all this, his ex-girlfriend was later released from the hospital and was put on. She had to quit her old school, and her family then moved 2 states away from them. And that was after last time they ever saw or even heard from anyone ever again. Only about a month after all this happened, everything just went back to normal. And one day, Pinkie Pie was heard by some Rarity and Applejack talking about this upcoming prom. And of course, she was so excited. This was going to be her first prom with her boyfriend Cinnamon's son. And he actually asked her if she wanted to be his date to the dance. So they actually went there, and they had this amazing time. Having some great time with the friends, dancing, just having an amazing time. But when they were supposed to announce the king and queen of the prom, everyone was so excited to see who it could have been. Even Pinkie Pie and Cinnamon's son was just waiting to see who it could have been. But when Principal Celestia announced the winner were Pinkie Pie and Cinnamon's son, both just dropped their hands to the floor and just said, and like I said, "What?" And all everyone just stared at them and smiled and said, "This was something that they actually had voted for." They had actually voted for them to be the king and queen of the prom. Ever since what has happened to Cinnamon's son and what he has going through from his ex-girlfriend, and that was Pinkie Pie had been trying to help him in this situation. And of course, since how much he had been helping around the school, and that he was just a great friend. And this was something a big turnaround in their relationship. Even they never had any fights, both realized they were meant for each other. Even all after all this, Pinkie Pie, knowing that after she won to be have to be chosen to be the queen of the prom, that was a great day though. Everything just seems to be going better for him for afterwards. And even after they finished school, Pinkie Pie started working at Sugar Coop Cafe, which since she sometimes even helped them there at the cafe with baking. What about Cinnamon's son? What happened to him after that school? In fact, he started working for a local security company. He actually became a security guard. But later he decided he wanted to be something more. So he applied for the school police academy. And of course he was accepted, and even it was a toughness there, but he showed his improving that he could do it. And he later became a police officer. And right after that he had become a police officer, he actually had proposed to Pinkie Pie, and she said yes immediately. All the friends and family were so excited. And they had even their wedding about a month later. And of course, even his family paid for all the wedding and of course the Sunday honeymoon which they went to Paris for about a week. But even after some time, they start living their normal life together as a married couple. But almost 2 years later, Pinkie Pie announced to Cinnamon's son that she was pregnant and she was going to have a daughter, which he was so really surprised. But he was happy. And when their daughter were about 4 years old, they had a baby son. And they even had another daughter when the son was about 2 years. And that's how Pinkie Pie and Cinnamon's son got married and a big family. The end.